Amy shrieked as Eggman stuffed his 13-inch penis into Amy's well-worn but still tight pussy. You know how to make a man feel like his father, said Eggman as he began pounding away.
Fuck me harder, you big fat fuck,
said Amy. Eggman began slapping her flaps much harder. His cheeks began to slap together how much he was fucking her. This caused Amy to reach orgasmic bliss. She comes. Eggman nuts inside of her. Yeah, that's the shit I like. Cream pie shit, yes. Amy lays back and lifts her legs up in the air.
I want your cum to go deeper. I want your pregnancy. I want your disease, Dr. Robotnik.
Please, bitch, call me Ivo.
How about I just call you Daddy?
Amy said, in a seductive voice. Round 2? Asked Eggman. Amy nodded, as her pussy began to hum like a toaster oven. Meanwhile, Tails was just getting out of the hospital. He was reduced to a wheelchair since Eggman raped his tight little asshole so viciously before. Tails was filled with hatred for the fat bastard. He wanted revenge, and he wanted it badly. What better way to get revenge than to fuck Eggman's ass and fill him up with a big steaming load? Tails was escorted out of the hospital by his longtime friend, Knuckles. You know, you should really take it easy for the next few days. Your asshole got pulverized, said Knuckles. He didn't mean any offense. He was just looking out for his good friend Tails. Oh, get off it, won't you, Cuckles? I'm sick of hearing your shit. Hey, what did I say about you calling me that, huh? You know that name upsets me. Why don't you drink my cum, Cuckles, said Tails in a demanding voice. Knuckles was both shook and aroused. Knuckles and Tails locked eyes for a moment. And in that moment, all was right in the world. Knuckles began rubbing Tails' thigh. You know, we can get in a lot of trouble for doing this, said Knuckles, who was concerned but easily convincible. Rub higher, said Tails, in a sweet, inviting voice. Knuckles rubbed. Harder, said Tails. Knuckles rubbed harder. Harder, said Tails, becoming more and more demanding. Knuckles continued to rub harder and harder as Tails kept demanding more and more rubbing. Eventually, Tails couldn't hold it anymore and came right into Knuckles' big glove. A big load for a big glove, huh, pal? Said Knuckles. Shut the fuck up, Cuckles, said Tails as he sat back in his wheelchair, lap full of his own cum. Knuckles then began to eat the cum out of his glove as the hospital staff began to notice what was going on. An hour or so later, Knuckles and Tails arrive at Tails' workshop. Tails leaves the car without saying a word to Knuckles. He enters his house and climbs into bed. He makes sure to lay on his side as to not upset his blistering anus cavity. He begins to make his plan to get his revenge. Tails is going to rape Eggman back, and he knows exactly how he's going to do it. Tails knows that Amy and Eggman have been seen in Station Square, mostly hanging out in Twinkle Park, smoking cigarettes behind the arcade machines and having anal sex in the gender-neutral bathrooms. Tails knew that if he could corner Eggman, he'd have a sure shot at that big hairy ass. Tails knew that he needed lube, and he needed a perfect window to opportunity. What better way to get Eggman's attention away from Amy's sweet pussy lips than to use the one thing that Eggman can't ever ignore? Sonic. The next day, Tails' asshole was feeling a whole lot better, and after some yoga and meditation, Tails was ready to enact his plan. He drove over to Sonic's house and knocked on the door. But before his knock could even register as sound, Sonic opened the door.
Hey, Tails! Long time no see!
Save it, Sonic. I need your help. Eggman and Amy are going to be at Twinkle Park most likely, and I need you to create a distraction.
Ah, Distraction's my middle name. Sonic Distraction the Hedgehog, huh?
Tails didn't laugh. Instead, he began detailing the plan. Eggman and Amy pulled up in Twinkle Park.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for this,
said Amy, with a chest full of hope and happiness. Don't forget to bring the lighter this time. The ones at the concession stand cost too damn much. Amy then pulled the lighter out of her size C bra. Eggman cracked a smile from under his well-maintained mustache. The two entered Twinkle Park and immediately made their way to the bathroom. Amy pulled out a spoon and bent it as Eggman pulled out his little bag of heroin. Just as Eggman was screwing on the needle, a blue flash passes him. He immediately knows who this is. He stops, looks over, and sees it's the blue blur. There he was. Sonic the Hedgehog, the fastest thing alive, the blue blur, the beast with sweet blue feet, Sonic, America's last true icon.
Well, what do you guys think you're doing here?
said Sonic, in his usual hedgehog demeanor.
It's not what you think,
Amy exclaimed. knowing that she was caught and in big trouble.
Shut the fuck up, Amy,
said Sonic.
And as for you, Eggman, I'm gonna make you toss my son like a chili dog.
Huh? Said Eggman, thrown off by Sonic's comment. But just before Eggman had a chance to make a dashing escape as he usually does, Sonic pulled down his trousers and knocked him down on his face. His voluptuous ass was now out in the open, and vulnerable. Sonic made his move and entered Eggman unlubricated, but unaffected due to Sonic's sheer unmatched speed. His speed to get into Eggman's ass was only matched by the hypersonic speeds of his humping. In only 30 seconds, Sonic managed to fit in 1,300 pumps, 5 comes, and 2 prolapsed assholes on Eggman's part. Eggman was defeated. The whole time, Tails just watched in horror as Sonic did exactly what Tails so desperately wanted to do. Tails was now living in the shadow of Sonic again, just as he feared. He then watched as Sonic finished with Eggman and made his way to Amy. He took her by the hand gently and romantically. "Wait!" said Tails in a defeated, weak voice. Amy and Sonic looked at him. Sonic then said,
Sorry, pal. I gotta see what all the fuss is about with this one. I heard you could pile driver onto a dildo.
Later, Gabo,
said Amy, in a mocking tone, one that took Tails' ego down a few pegs. Sonic lifted her up like a Disney princess, and the two dashed off. The only thing left behind was Amy's panties as they delicately floated down, landing right in front of Tails. Tails then looked over at Eggman, who was now reaching into his bag. "Hey, what are you doing now, Eggman?" Eggman looked at Tails. "Fuck off." Eggman then pulled out a pistol and shot himself in the face. Tails watched as Eggman's brain came spilling out of his head cavity. He then just sat there in the Twinkle Park bathroom and thought to himself. He thought about his life and how he arrived to the point where he was now. He thought about friendships and families, love and hatred, anal and oral. Tails knew that Amy would go around and mock him, tell everyone that he was gay. Amy knew that Tails watched gay porn sometimes. Amy knew that Tails secretly liked being fucked by Eggman himself. She knew a lot about him. They had a weird connection. And this didn't make Tails happy. He knew he had to do something about this. He made his way to his gay airplane and turned on the radio. He put in his copy of Oasis's 1997 album, Be Here Now. He turned on the plane and flew off into the sunset, asshole still in deep pain.